Hello and welcome. I'm going to show you today my Obsidian vault for my great works reading list. I used to just take notes in, just record them in Google Docs, and that works fine, but it's even cooler in an Obsidian vault. So let me just kind of give you a view of a couple of things. This is my table of contents for my ultimate reading list. This is my list. It'll probably take a lifetime to read, but that I'm currently reading. You see, I have a bunch of entries from the Annals of America, which is a book set my parents gave me, and the Great Books, which also my parents gave me. Then some literature books that I had as an undergrad, just reading through them because I didn't read all of them in my English classes, and want to review the ones I've read because I think literature is going to hit differently now that I'm in my 40s than when I was in my early 20s. Then also the Story of Civilization series, another one for my parents, and then scriptures, and that's just some links. So this is my ultimate reading list. Um, it's giant, and if I want to see the individual items in the reading list, I have this base, which is just uh, kind of a list of the different things. And right now it's in chronological order, but I can put it by file name, or my shelf, so you see all the ones that I've read already. Ooh, I've read a lot. Um, and then there are a lot that I have not read. And then it also shows me the source. So let me go back to something I read recently. Let's see. Oh, this one was funny. This is a letter that Edgar Allan Poe wrote to his aunt Maria Clem, and he had asked Maria if he could marry her daughter, Victoria, who is, of course, Edgar Allan Poe's first cousin. And she was 13 years old. And Maria said no and said that she was going to marry someone else. And so Poe replies with this letter, and it's so dramatic, so dramatic. Um, he said, like here, he says, I am blinded with tears for writing for this letter. I have no wish to live another hour. Amid sorrow, the deepest anxiety, your letter reached, and you know well how little I am able to bear up under the pressure of grief, blah, blah, blah. What am I to live for among strangers with not one soul to love me? Even though, as I note here, um, he later is like, hey, you and Virginia should come move in with me. She can marry me, and then you guys can live here. Everyone receives me with open arms. Everyone loves me, and it's wonderful. So he's just being dramatic. So I have here just the quotes from it. Cool thing about Obsidian is these quotes that you see this pink line with, they're actually in their own file. And so now when I want to use them in something else, I can, let's say I want to write something about Poe's dramatic tantrum or something. Um, I can add, I am blinded with tears for writing this letter, and it's exactly the same as it is, and then I can respond to that. I think this is overly dramatic, silly, and over a 13-year-old cousin. Ugh. All right, so I can respond to it. I can add my own thoughts and stuff, but I preserve the original quote. And if I go back to the original quote, as you see here, I have the author listed, where I got it, when it was written. I've tagged it with a couple of things. There at the bottom, it shows other places that refer to this note, or which here we have the original letter, and then what I just wrote, the post-traumatic tantrum. So that automatically shows up. It's very cool. And then if I'm like, okay, Poe was actually, he probably was actually very sad. So what else do I have talking about sadness and sorrow? And so it's going to search. Now all I did is click on the tag, your sorrow, and a whole bunch of things. You have one from Emerson. After 30, a man wakes up sad every morning, except perhaps five or six. Um, there's another one from Tennyson. Be near me when my light is low. Lots of tennis from Tennyson because he was heartbroken when his friend died, and he wrote in memoriam. Uh, blurred the splendor of the sun, so his sadness so much the sun is dimmed. Um, Here's one from a fantasy book by Beth Brower, The Wonders Mark. He's talking about you're trying to carry all the sorrow and Imogen on your shoulders, he just said, thinking that somehow it will diminish the pain of those around you, but you can't, and it won't. Grieve with us, Eleanor, not for us. I just thought that was just one of my things. So like I can just look through here and see all the different notes I have about sorrow and go. Oh, then can sorrow wane. Oh, grief be changed to less. Bad Tennyson. So just lots of cool links and connections you can see. And this is why I chose Obsidian over Notion because of this view, even though I rarely use it. But it just looks so cool. So this is a map of all my notes in Obsidian and how they're all connected. And I've got a lot, honestly. Because a lot of these are, especially these ones over here, these are um the different items in my great works list that I'm reading. Over here, this is more like stuff I've already read, stuff I've already linked, and you see all these lines. Let's zoom in so you can see better. These lines connecting these notes to each other. It's a little much with all this, but you can filter things out. And then here, you can see I have a notes when you pause on the edge of action, which is from James Clear. Um, and you can look and see what it's attached to. So we have it's tagged with action. And I can see what else is tagged with action. Lots of things. Pausing on the edge of action is also linked to what is this? Confidence. It's also linked to Kate. That's like my tag for things that help me feel like I'm being myself. It's also linked to failing, the idea of failing, and so I can be like, what else is talking about failing? Um, this one right here, teaching ideas. So it's really cool. Um, I can go through that in more detail on another video. But yeah, I just really love love this with Obsidian. So let's go back to my ultimate reading list. So right now, a lot of my articles I'm reading are from Annals of America, Volume 6. I've read all the 1833 ones, so I'm going to close that. Read 1834, all of 1835, and I'm working on 1836. So here's just a list of them. I've read American Scenery. Um, I'm reading Labor Unions and Conspiracy right now. Sounds interesting, but it's actually kind of boring. Um, and yesterday I finished, um, where is it? One about temperance. There we go, The Scourge of Intemperance. Another cool thing I have is I have pages for each year, and I've spaced to write a summary. So one day when I'm done reading all the stuff from 1836, I'll write a summary of my thoughts on what was written this year. I also have a section that's automatically populated from things that I've tagged as beautiful words or swipe file items. So swipe file, I used to be a copywriter, and swipe file is just a file you keep things that are just really well phrased, really cool words or cool sentences or great titles, so that when you go to write, you have this really cool source of the really cool list of different interesting things said in just interesting in different ways. So, for example, this one was Charles Dickens. I read a pamphlet he wrote in 1836 called Sunday Under Three Heads, and he was protesting a bill that was going through Parliament, saying it was to hurt the poor and not really help anybody. And he said in it, this is just the middle of a sentence, the bill is worthy of the mind which could form such a mass of monstrous absurdity. So he's saying this terrible bill is worthy of someone who could create something so monstrous and ridiculous. I thought that was just a cool phrase, and I might quote that someday. I tagged it as swipe though because I really like how it's phrased and just Um, you kind of think it kind of sounds like you're like, oh, here's some praise, worthy, but it's actually an insult. And I don't know, I really like that and might want to do that someday. Um, so I have things I'm like, wow, that's really beautifully said, or things that are really said in a really cool way. I've invented some milestones. Eventually, I'll get this automatically populated, but I don't have that yet. Then I have author birthdays and author death days from this year. Um, and then I have a list of all the works from this year that are unread. And right now I have them in chronological order because that's the order I'm reading them in. So you see, Neighbor Unions and Conspiracy. It's what I'm currently working on. Has my source. And then I have a list of all the texts from the year. And I could filter it more and just show what's read, but I just have it everything because that's more useful for me. And then later I'll add themes I'm seeing in this year. Um, and as I read, if I find something I really like, I'll tag it as um, that I like it or love it, and that will automatically show up here. And I have a list of vocabulary words from this weird year. Um, these are words, a lot of them I know, but like I don't know them well enough to use them in my own writing. And so I look them up, and so I created a page for each of them, and then I'm I can understand it better. I can come back to it. I'm more likely to use it, and it just helps me. And also, I have set up. I can show in another video ways to um, study this and create flashcards with a spaced repetition plugin. And then I'm just not going to do that right now, but I can review these words and help me better remember them. I can do the same with favorite quotes. This will automatically populate when I come up with some. And um, and again, these are quotes that I think are so valuable or so interesting that I want to memorize them. So I use the spaced repetition plugin to help me memorize those. Then I have this list of um, automatically populated of authors from this year. So anyone who wrote anything in 1836 that's on my reading list here. So it's kind of cool because, like, did you know Abraham Lincoln and Charles Dickens were in writing the same year? I didn't really. Um, Same with Emerson, William B. Travis. He was with the Alamo, died in the Alamo in 1836. So, like, all this, I don't know. It's just cool to see everyone together. And then I have a list of tags, again, automatically populated, things just showing up in what I tag. It's cool because it helps me see, let me go back up here, where's themes from the year. Um, a lot easier to pick up when I look here. And this goes from how whatever has the most tags to the fewest. So I can start to see, okay, some of these are functional tags, but beautiful words. I have two tags so far with just a few things I've read about public opinion. That in 1835 was also a theme I saw repeated. I haven't really read a whole lot yet in 1836, so there's not a ton of tags, but um, it helps me kind of figure out the themes of the year, and then just knows referencing this year. So yeah, super fun, super fascinating. Um, One thing I'm working on that I think would be cool is a list of author identities and diversities. So it's to help me find authors who are not just dead rich white males. So one of the problems with my reading list is that most of the authors are dead. They were rich, and so they had enough leisure time to write. And they were white and they are straight males, and so there's limited diversity, right? And so we want to read more diverse works sometimes. And so I'm working on tagging my authors as I find information about them and as I have, a little extra time with different tags to find their identities and the different diversities they represent. So, or are a part of, really. So when I'm like, okay, I want to read something from a woman, I can come here and see, okay, here are female authors. Oh, I want to read someone who is homosexual. Here we go, James Baldwin, who's an amazing, amazing American writer. Love it. If I want to read someone who's not white, I can find stuff here. Someone who has a disability, someone who's non-Christian, not rich, people who are alive today. I got lots of those. Um, so. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool when you want to find more diversity or include more diversity in your reading. This is an automatically populated list that will do it. And again, still working on this. There's going to be a lot more, but it's I'm working. That's going to be interesting. I also have page. Here we go. Um, which is really cool. I really like this completion list of the ultimate reading list, and this is just a set of years from the Annals of America volume I'm reading. But this includes all my reading list items. And what's really cool is these numbers 42 from 1835. This 42 I did not type in. I mean, look, there's a little bit of code. This is from Data View plugin. And so it's taking all the pages that have the tag ultimate, which is how I indicate it's from my reading list, where where it's also showing that it's from 1835. And so it tells me I have 42 items from 1835. And then the same from 1834, 1833 showing up. And then again, the 206 items from this set of years automatically populated. And so from what I've read, I can have it automatically populate. So I've read so far from 1833 through 1836, I've read 93 items, which is pretty cool. I mean, I've got over 7,000 total, but almost 100 is pretty cool that I've read. And so it just, it just, it's cool to see it and cool to see it automatically populate as as we go on. So, um, so many cool things about my Obsidian Vault that I love. Um, so I probably, I mean, I'm going to show you more things as we go. This one's interesting. Again, automatically does shows the number of unread items um, per year. So in year one, obviously that's going to be approximate one in common era. There's 8 items. We got a whole bunch in the 20s and 30s, and then I can come way down here. You see like the 1900s, where I'm reading started in 1833. So those are the ones I've read, reading, and coming up, and so it's just kind of cool to see the different things. Let me go back to here. So I also have pages with all the entries from the Annals of America. And also have the dates, so it'll show up. Oh, that's the coding. Here we go. The dates. So there's 2,535 items from Annals of America entries. And so it just kind of goes, starts with one for Columbus and just keeps going. Now, the dates, wasn't quite sure how to do this, but some people suggested if you don't know the exact date, like the month and the day, just put January 1st, because you know the year-ish usually most of the time. Um, so the ones that say January 1st, that's just estimate, but sometimes I have more accurate dates, especially closer to modern times we get. Um, I have more accurate dates. For example, I haven't updated the 1900s ones yet, but in the 1800s I have. So let's get to 1833. Because when I just put these in, I just put January 1st automatically, and I'll look up the rest. But here we go. We have some 1850s, different dates. We got Lincoln's speech, Douglas's reply to that speech, and then Lincoln's speech, which is probably going to reply back to Douglas, etc. So that's kind of cool. You see the dates there. Um, so this is just the Annals of America entries. I also have the same thing for the great books. This one I made manually before I um, learned how to make it automatically. But this one automatically populates. And so we have the title, the author, the year, and whether I've read it or not. Um, the years get kind of weird because for dates, BC or BCE dates, Obsidian can't really handle them yet very well. So um, pretty sure this one is, no, that one's not a negative date. Um, anyway, I'll show you about the negative, how I handle the negative dates later, or the BC or BCE dates. I make them a negative year, uh, but we'll kind of go. So here are the great books, the books from the great books, and then I've done the same with each of my literature books. So which ones are from the literature, who they're from, author, written by, if we have an author, the year they're written ish, and all that. So um, very cool. The story of civilization, and I've got some scriptures. Yeah, so fascinating, fascinating. I have this one cool page, today's author's birthdays and death days. So if an author from across all my authors, across from Ultimate Reading List, if any of them were born today or died today, I have that here. Um, yeah, and I also have just list of their death days and birthdays, um, just all of them throughout the year. So we got those. Um, yeah. So like, where are my notes themselves? The actual notes I am creating from from these works that I'm reading. Well, I have them here. So on the left here, we have some file folders. So I have a folder called knowledge, and then notes, and then I have some subfolders, but then I just have a bunch of notes. So this was a line that made me laugh from Homer from the Iliad. I mean, some insult is like, "Oh, you wine sack." Um, so I have that here. And if I want to go back to the Iliad itself, I have my notes. These are all the read things I've read so far with the Iliad. I keep starting the Iliad, and then I get bored or lost or just sometimes it's hard to go. So that's why I move forward. One of the reasons I move forward to start in 1833. I'll go forward and then I'll come back and start again once I hit probably about the year I was born in '84. And I'll come back and start. Oh, here's a chance to show you my dates. So I have here. This was written about very approximately about 740 BCE, and so I just have it as negative 0740. Uh, yeah, it works most of the time for what I needed to do. Well, we'll work on it. Yeah. So let me know what else you're interested in seeing with my Obsidian, and let me know if you're interested in get making one for yourself and getting some maybe direction on how I do it so you can get some ideas for your own. Or I am thinking about creating one that you could download, just kind of having maybe the great books, all the things from the great books in its own vault, and then you can use that to start your own great books reading series. So just let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.